Some of the things that you're going to see our teachers trying out early on are collaborative learning strategies. So they're either creating tasks where students can work together in smaller groups or in pairs, or they're creating tasks where the whole class is focused on trying to solve a problem together or trying to have a discussion together, but the students are the ones whose ideas are really kind of running the show, if you want.
So we just finished up chapter 1, so they're actually mostly working on using classroom subjects in order to express likes and dislikes. So we're actually finally transitioning from doing really basic sentences to more complex sentences, which is a lot of fun for me because I have the ability now to do these more intricate activities like the one we did today. We played charades, some form of charades. Some of them were really difficult tasks, so they had to actually either use words, like English was really hard for them. One girl finally figured out to just write it on the board. But charades, which was cool.
One of the classes that I've fully taken over is Algebra 2, and right now we're working with solving quadratic equations and factoring and distributive property and stuff like that.
So we're working on bond theory and how different atoms can bond to one another, the restrictions that we notice atoms kind of following. So it can only bond to so many things, or it can only bond to certain things in certain ways. We're also talking about how to write a chemical formula from the different models that we're making, as well as how to calculate the total mass of these molecules.
Right now, we just finished talking about projectile motion, and then we have a test on Tuesday. Today's a review day, and then we're going to start talking about forces.
I think the hard part is I'm still a guest here, so I'm still learning about the school, and there's certain things I still haven't learned about it. On the other side, what was difficult for my first week was, unlike some of the interns, my mentor had me start basically from day one being the lead teacher, and that was really hard for me. I was like, oh, I just finished up my summer, I just learned a little bit, and now I'm using all those techniques in a classroom, and although he's here, he does let me try my own things, and he helps me to formulate my activities, so I'm really not on my own. But to stand up in a class for the first day in a school and be like, I'm your teacher for the rest of the year was a really new experience for me.
It's definitely a big jump because you're used to watching someone bring the information to you, and now you have to bring the information to somebody else or help them get to it in some way. So I guess kind of just the approach to coming in is the opposite. When I was in high school, I was pretty quiet, and I could just kind of come in and do my stuff. And I avoided being in front and talking to people as much as I could. So now, I guess the transition to becoming a public speaker is a big difference from how I approached it before.
So right now it's kind of like stressful because I don't know how it's going to go, and I have to anticipate what students are going to think and how students are going to react with everything, and it doesn't work out the way I want it to. So sometimes you'll think that your lesson plan is great, and it just like tanks. So, and you just notice that you're like, oh, I planned this all out. Like, they're going to be great. They're going to understand it. They're going to do this activity. And then we get down to it, and at the end of the class period, I get the dead look. That's like, what? What did we just do?
It's a lot harder than I thought it would be. I thought I'd be able to just come in and explain something the way that I knew it, and that everybody would understand what I was saying. I also thought students would have a lot more background on a concept than they actually do. Like, as a student, I'm so used to working on my own on a problem and not really being able to work at my pace and figure stuff out with what I know, that I'm still realizing that a lot of these students can't work on their own on a problem and that they need a lot more help. We had a student who day one came in and set his head down and wouldn't participate, and it took everything to get him to just sit up and try and listen and try and work. And he comes in every day now and just sits up and does his work and has questions, asks for help when he needs it. So to see that kind of change in attitude is fantastic.